Stardew Valley. So there's a 1.5 update. And do you know what the significant new piece of endgame content is?
So, no, nobody knows. All they know is that there's a door in the back of Willie's shack now. The guy that sells all the fish stuff, which is funny to me. Like Concerned Ape, the developer behind Stardew,
Yeah.
He's fantastic. Like the
Oh, he's such a good guy,
this
hey?
this game came out, years ago, sold 10 million copies now, and he's still supporting it. And he wants to move on to new projects soon. But it's the reason I want to talk about this is not only is it adding bananas, which is cool, but I'm a huge fan of Stardew Valley, but I haven't played it since I'd say probably the era when it was first ported to Switch, and I was playing it on an Xbox at the time, so kind of that era.
Yeah.
I've never tried it multiplayer, which I'd like to try at some point. But I just wanted to just give props to this guy for just supporting this game, and essentially, while you can say, oh, it's a Harvest Moon clone, it's
No.
no,
No.
well, it is a Harvest Moon clone, but
No, it's inspired by Harvest Moon. This is, I think that's really unfair to say it's a Harvest Moon clone.
you got to let me finish my sentence. It is a
Okay,
Harvest Moon
sorry.
clone, but it's a damn good one, and it introduces really cool elements to it. Obviously, a lot of those elements were also in the Rune Factory games and the later Harvest Moon games. But it's like, well, sure, it's basically Harvest Moon, but it's a really great version of it, and I'd say better than what SNES Harvest Moon is still my favorite Harvest Moon that I played, but it's it's just an awesome game, and just really glad that it's still getting supported. And I think it did need more endgame content, so I think that's really, really cool.
And I'm going to defend him because I don't think it's a clone of Harvest Moon. Like, what
Come
I...
on.
No, I know you're joking, but I like to think of these type of games as, imagine the world if the 64 and PlayStation never happened, where we transitioned to 3D games. What would the world look like if 2D games continued on, but you had advanced technology? Because this game doesn't look just like a game that could run on the Super Nintendo, but it kind of looks like a Super Nintendo 2 game, if that makes any sense of what I'm saying. And I just feel like it's kind of like this is what the sequel to Harvest Moon would have looked like if the Nintendo 64 was a 2D console rather than a 3D console. And I just, I kind of feel like he's, gone deep on it and really, gone really nuts with the systems that are available. And yeah, it's a great game. I love it. Like, actually,
I mean,
again, it's one of the few games.
Sorry, a lot of those systems are in the Harvest Moon games, though. It's Harvest
What? Sorry?
Moon. A lot of those games, like, we're not just talking SNES Harvest Moon, we're talking all the Harvest Moons, the one on PlayStation,
Sure.
A Wonderful Life, the 64 and stuff. But I don't want that's not a negative thing. It's just,
Sure.
to me, it's like, it's the perfect evolution of Harvest Moon.
Well, that's much nicer. I think clone is almost like it's a real negative term in the industry now.
See, I've never thought of it. Like, to me, I still like the whole. I grew up Doom clone. Like,
yes, correct. I know, but we're old.
Rise
we're
of the
old.
Triad is the Doom clone. That's not a negative thing. It's just it defines what what people. It plays like Doom. It plays like Harvest Moon.
I like this Rise of the Triad. You're really trying hard for that 38 plus demographic.
Hey, someone out there that's listening to this is going to be like, oh, hell yeah, Rise of the Triad was awesome, man.
Woo!
I could see their eyeballs flying through the air when I blew them up.
And just, I don't know if you mentioned it, but it sold 10 million copies, which, you did mention it, but yeah, that's incredible. This guy is literally been minted from this game, and so he should be. He worked really hard on it. It was actually covered in Jason Schreier's book, Blood, Sweat and Pixels. And that's really interesting just to hear the story about basically his missus looked after him and paid for everything. And for this game that he's never really made that many games. And it was like this 5-year journey. And then now it's this mega success. Just stuff that you almost never hear about, right? And you always hear those kids saying, I want to be an actor. And you just go, that's never going to happen. But, he has made it. And, I wish him the best. And I'm actually really interested to see what his next title is.